Hello there, my name is Samuel Oloyede, and today I want to talk about failure and what happens, what should you do when you fail. Right, so the first thing you should know is that failure is a part of life. Everybody fails at some point in their lives. There's no way to avoid failure altogether. Right, so it's going to come. Now, when it does come, what happens? Is that the end of your life? Do you allow that to stop you from moving forward, from trying other things? So that's what I want to talk about today, and I'll be sharing 5 ways to cope when failures come. So first of all, as I said already, is that you should recognize that failure is a part of life. Everybody fails. Even the most successful of us will fail, right? So once you realize that that happens, failure is a part of life, it puts you in a better frame of mind that when failure happens to you, it's not because you it's not because you are special, something. It happens to everybody. So accept that. That's first. The number two is that you should see failure as a learning opportunity. So once you begin to see that, well, if I fail, that means there is something for me to learn here. It changes your perspective about failure. So you just don't see it now as something that comes along to derail you, to stop you. No, you see that, okay, there's something for me to learn from this, right? So when you fail and you can see it as it's a learning opportunity, then you can move forward and just decide, so what are the lessons to learn from this failure? And once you can look at it through that frame, right, then you begin to pick out things. Okay, well, maybe I should not do it this way next time. Well, maybe I should try something different. That is number two. And the third one is that failure is an event. It is not who you are. So like I mentioned already, failure happens to everybody. Everybody on earth, even animals, they fail, right? The biggest companies, the most successful people will fail at some point. So it is not who you are. You are not a failure. Failure just happens as an event to you. So it's something you experience. It is not who you are. It does not define you. It does not define your life, right? So begin to see it as that way. Failure is an event that happens to you. You are not a failure. Then the fourth thing is that you should develop a spirit of persistence, right? So when you fail, always remember, you fall 7 times, rise 8 times. Whenever failure comes along, tell it, well, yes, this has happened. What are the lessons to learn here? You learn the lessons and then you rise again and try again. So don't ever allow failure to put your back down permanently. So that is when you really can say you are a failure. But once failure happens to you, that is the event of failure happens to you, learn your lesson, dust yourself up and try again. So the more you try, well, you are going to experience more failures, but then if you don't try at all, you have already failed, right? So you try, you fail, rise again, try harder, try better, try smarter. So when you fail, you will get wisdom, you become wiser, and then you can try better. And number 5 is that you should get education, right? I'm talking about how you can cope with failures, right? How you can mitigate it when it comes along. So the 5th thing I want to mention is that get education. You see, the more educated you are, the better you're able to cope with failure. For example, you watching this video now is an education, right? So you are learning about what failure is and what it's not. So that's way when failure does come along, you have better knowledge of how to cope with it. So education really helps you. And another way education helps you is that it reduces your rate of failure. So it's like someone who has never played basketball before, for example, and then just starts the first time. Of course, the first time he plays it, he's going to miss a lot of shots, right? But then someone who has practiced what basketball is all about, he is better able, he can play better than someone who has never practiced before. So education helps you to learn the things to do, the things to not do. Once you are educated, right, you are better prepared, so that there are some failures you can avoid. So it is an uneducated person, so every situation that comes along, right, he's more likely to make wrong choices because he does not even know what of things, right, in that thing. But when you are educated, you can better be able to mitigate your failures. So those are the 5 things I have for you for how to mitigate failures. Number 1, failure is a part of life. Recognize that. Number 2, failure, see it as a learning opportunity. Number three, recognize that failure is an event, not who you are. You are not a failure. Number four, develop a spirit of persistence, right? When you fall 7 times, rise 8 times. And number five, get education. So till I come your way again the next time, stay blessed and continue being successful.